All right, it's pay-per-view time. We have UFC 301 taking place in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil tonight. We have the return of Jose Aldo fighting the co-main event. Overall, I think it's a solid pay-per-view. I'm looking forward to it. Some really underrated matchups. As usual, I'm going to give you guys my quick picks and quick breakdowns for each fight on this card. Recap of the event from last week. Plus 1.2 units, nothing crazy in terms of profit, but I'll definitely take it back in the green and looking to build off this tonight at UFC 301. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and let's get into this breakdown. First matchup, really good fight. I think it's a banger to kick off the pay-per-view event. We have Alessandro Costa taking on Kevin Borjas. In terms of betting, I think Borjas was the side earlier in the week at like the plus 130, plus 140 price tag. The line is closed in. I think the line is accurate now. I think Costa should be a slight favorite, like minus 115, minus 120, because he has more ways to win the fight. He hasn't really gone to it too often, but I think he can have success with the wrestling here. I think he has a better jiu-jitsu. Borjas is the better striker, and I think Borjas is more durable, so I think there's an opportunity for Borjas to knock out Costa, but I'm going to pick Costa with little confidence because he has the grappling upside. Next up, we have Vince from Hell Pichel taking on Ismael Bonfim. Bonfim's a big favorite here. No surprise I'm picking him to win. Big discrepancy in age here. Bonfim's going to be way younger. Vince is now like 41 years old. And I just think it's a good matchup for Bonfim stylistically. You know, typically he's really susceptible to the submission, although he's been submitted by really good fighters. He's been submitted 4 times in his career, and Pichel doesn't have one submission win on his professional career. So I just think that he has more ways to win this matchup. He has really good takedown defense, good cardio, solid striking. He's well-rounded. Bonfim to win, probably by decision. Vince is tough. Next up, we have Barbosa taking on Ernesta. Not going to pronounce the last name. We're going with Ernesta on this one. I think Barbosa is the rightful favorite here. She has a background in judo and BJJ. She has a black belt in both, and I believe she has an Olympic background in judo. You know, Ernesta, her takedown defense looked good on the Contender Series. She threw a lot of output. She was tough. She's big. She has a lot of she has good cardio. But the thing is, the girl that she fought is also inexperienced, and she's not a grappler. If you look at Ernesta's fight previous to the Contender Series, she was taken down multiple times, and I thought it was a robbery. I thought she lost that fight. I think Barbosa is going to be able to get this fight down to the mat. She's the shorter fighter, which favors her with her judo. And I just think at some point, she gets it down and she finishes Ernesta. I don't think Ernesta has a solid grappling base, so the pick is Barbosa on this one. Next fight, we have Jamie Malaki taking on Mauricio Huffy. I believe it's pronounced Huffy. But I think this betting line is getting a little bit out of control. You know, I favor Huffy to win, but minus 200, minus 220, it's a little wide, only because he doesn't throw enough output. If you watch this Contender Series fight, he won by late stoppage. He knocked the guy out late, but he might have lost if this fight went to the judges' scorecards. He wasn't really throwing enough, and Malarkey has enough UFC experience. He's well-rounded. He throws a lot of output. He can wrestle, but, I mean, that chin is going to get tested here. I think that Huffy does get the knockout, but if it does go to a decision, it's going to get a little hairy for him. Drakkar Klose taking on Joaquim Silva is next. Good fight. I think this one's an underrated fight. I think it's going to be a banger. Drakkar Klose is a decision machine in the UFC, but he's fought a lot of durable fighters. I think they're going to go to war here. Silva has power. He's been knocked out a number of times in his career. I don't think Klose has the best durability either, and he's hittable. He lunges in too much, and he can get clipped at any time. I'm going to go with the underdog here in Silva to clip and knock out Klose at some point in this fight, but either way, I think there's going to be a finish here. Next matchup is another underrated banger. If you're a diehard MMA fan, you're excited about this fight. We have Miktybek Oralby taking on Elvis Brenner. I'm picking Oralby to win here. Again, I think the line is getting a little bit out of control. It's a little wide at this point. I favor him at like the minus 170, the opener on DraftKings, because I just think he could dictate where this fight takes place with the wrestling. You know, Brenner has had a really, really good start to the UFC. He's 3-0 in the UFC right now, but you can kind of pick apart his wins. You know, his first fight, I thought he lost against Zuba. Close fight. His next fight, he beat Guram Kudalaze. Credit to him, but he was down 2-0 on the judges' scorecards going into the third round. He did finish him. Credit to him, but he was down on the scorecards. And then the fight after that, he fought a guy making his UFC debut on short notice, knocked him out, did what he had to do, but still, Again, I just think that Orelbai is going to be able to dictate where this fight takes place because of the wrestling, but both guys are tough. Should be a banger. Next fight, we have Joe Anderson Brito taking on Jack Shore. Another really good fight. I posted on Twitter earlier this week that I think that Brito is going to have a massive physicality and athleticism advantage here. You know, Jack Shore, does everything well fundamentally. He has a good jab, he's good striking, really good wrestler, really good grappler, but he lacks, I think, strength, explosiveness, and speed. And Brito is just like the epitome of those three things. Also, Jack Shore has been fighting at 135. Now he's moving up in weight, and Brito is just a ball of muscle for the featherweight division. Also, Jack Shore, he's 6-1 in the UFC, but if you look into all 6 of his wins, those fighters are no longer with the promotion. His one loss is to Ricky Simon, good fighter, but if Ricky Simon can wobble you on the feet and hurt you and finish you, then Brito absolutely can do the same, and it's probably going to be worse. So the pick is Brito here. Paul Craig taking on Caio Borralho. Another wide line we have here. Borralho is the rightful favorite. He is undefeated in the UFC so far. Borralho is a smart fighter. He knows how to win, but I just think he lacks those finishing instincts. He had his last fighter, Abu, hurt on the feet, didn't finish him late in the 3rd round. I think he has one finish in the UFC, and he choked out Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, but he's very prone to the submission. I hope he finishes Paul Craig here. I don't know if he will, though. I'm not bullish on a method, but I am going to pick Borralho to win. Next fight, Michel Pereira taking on Ihor Potieria. Another crazy line. Michel Pereira is -700. It wasn't too long ago where this guy was in the octagon doing flips onto his opponents. He has seemed to kind of cut a lot of those antics out of his game, but you never know. He's in Brazil. He was doing backflips at the weigh-ins. Who knows? But, Pereira seems to find his weight class. He's doing really good his last 2 fights at the middleweight division have been, really good for him. He knocked out one of his opponents and then he choked out the other. And Potieria does not have good striking defense. He's hittable. He's been knocked out a number of times. I think that Pereira does finish him at some point. Whether it's knockout or submission, I don't know, but the pick is Pereira. Next fight, we have Anthony Smith taking on Vitor Petrino. I sound like a broken record here, but another crazy wide line. Petrino's like -600, -650. I think Anthony Smith is the more skilled fighter. He is a really good striker, really good submissions, but at this stage in his career, can you trust him? Not really. He's 35, but he's been in a number of wars. What I will say is that even though Petrino is jacked up, he's like one of those dudes that were created in a lab similar to Yoel Romero. I don't think he's the most prolific finisher. He does have mostly finishes, but doesn't have that sense of urgency to finish. And Smith does have a knack for surviving even when he does get hurt. So I think this fight gets extended. I think Petrino, his path to victory is actually taking Smith down and holding him down. Smith does not have a good takedown defense. Again, the line is wide, but I'm picking Petrino to win. Jose Aldo taking on Jonathan Martinez. The King of Rio is returning. He's coming out of retirement in his home country of Brazil. I am going to pick Martinez in this fight, though, for a number of reasons. One being that he's more active. He's younger. I think he has better distance management. He's the better kickboxer. Jose's the better boxer. Just because he's been more active, I think he's going to have a speed advantage. I'm picking Martinez. Not a really confident take, though. Main event time. Pantoja taking on Erceg. I'm taking the underdog in Erceg here to win the fight. Pantoja's 34 now. He's been in a number of wars. He gets reckless at times. I think that Erceg is going to be the more technical, clean striker. He's bigger. He's younger. I actually think he's going to be more hungry to get the belt. Yes, he's getting fast-tracked, but I think it's going to be a really competitive fight, and I favor Erceg. I favor Pantoja in the grappling department, but Erceg is no slouch on the mat either. Not a super confident pick, but I'm going with the underdog and new star boy Erceg. So there's the breakdown. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're interested, I do have a number of bets up for tonight. I'm having a good year. 2024 is going well. You can either DM me or click the link in my bio for my bets.